Forgot to mention, there's also a Stravinsky quote in Drowning Witch. Find it. Welcome back and thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Today I'm going to talk about my top 10 Frank Zappa songs. This was a hard list. There's like 30 more that would probably deserve to be on this list, but I had to make some hard decisions, so I did. These are songs that were only released while Frank was alive. So if he released something that wasn't part of the official canon after he passed away, not he, but if the Zappa family trusted, I did not consider it for this list. Also, just in general, these aren't my top 10 favorite tracks. These are my top 10 favorite songs. So for an example, if I ever do my top 10 favorite tracks, Rat Tamago off Shake Your Booty is going to be on there. However, that is not a song. That is the guitar solo from a live Torture Never Stops. So it didn't quite fit on this list. So these are just the songs. So I'm going to tell you my 10. I'd love to know your 10 favorite. Or I'd like you to know why I'm wrong and why you're right. Or if you check any of these out and you find out you enjoy them, let me know. But anyways, yeah. Let's go. Top 10 Frank Zappa songs, starting off with number 10. Number 10, Status Back Baby off Absolutely Free. This is the shortest song on this list by a bit. Actually, number 1 is actually the only other relatively short song on this list. So this is from Absolutely Free. This is the purest, poppiest, sweetest, by far most easily digestible track on this list. One of the reasons I love it so much is because when I first heard Absolutely Free, I had it on vinyl, so I listened to side A, side B. Side A is amazing, and it's an amazing album, but it's one of those that nothing on there like grabs you as far as like it doesn't have these hooks. It's not like Snap Your Fingers. And then you get Status Back Baby, which is just this pure, sweet, poppy, sugary. The lyrics are about losing your status at your high school. It is just an absolutely just catchy little, not even 3-minute song. It is just 2:40, I think it's like 2:40 or something. Just slice of just pure Frank pop greatness. Part of why I like it is because of where it appeared on that album. Sadly, it never became a mainstay in the live Zappa era, so it really is just kind of relegated to those 60s mothers. It is just an amazing song. But one of the things it did is when I was getting into Zappa, I was getting really into Zappa. And I found out that there is a Stravinsky quote of a song, Petrushka. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it, in the middle. So right about 1 minute and 31 seconds in the middle, Frank starts playing this little like weird lick on the guitar. That's a quote from Petrushka, the very first intro part. And that had me then go check out more Stravinsky. So then I became familiar with Stravinsky, which helped me with Frank, because Frank quotes a lot of Stravinsky in his stuff. So that was a door opening to that world. But it is a great song. It is an even greater song when you hear it in the context of the album. So check out the song and then check out the entire album. Number 10, Status Back Baby. And Help, I'm a Rock from Freak Out, Frank's first album. When I first heard this track back on vinyl, back in the 80s, before it had been released on CD, and maybe on the first CD it was indexed like this, but it was like an 8.5-minute song that essentially had a couple parts. It had the Help, I'm a Rock song, which is about 4.5 minutes long, this incredible, just snaky, like Zappa riff that just goes over this da-na-na-na-na, 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 and then all these weird, like the band members just making these weird noises and voices and barks and making up words, and this goes on for a while, and there's burst of noise, and then Frank comes back in, is like, help, I'm a rock, somebody, help, I'm a rock, somebody. It's hard being a rock. And then it's help, I'm a cop, it's hard being a cop, and makes up all this different stuff, and then it gets crazier and crazier, and then it abruptly cuts off and goes into It Can't Happen Here, which is like this a cappella, like, it can't happen here, and the band makes all these weird noises. That has been since indexed into 2 separate tracks in recent releases or recent reissues. I'm still going with the original like not even the original, what is now called Help I'm a Rock, the 4.5 minute song, that is my number 9 song. It is just, that groove is amazing. It's funny. The commentary is funny. The noises are funny. In the live context, after they played around with the words and Frank improvised and they made noises and they did stuff, it would go off usually into an extended guitar solo. And that became Transylvania Boogie. So that theme to Transylvania Boogie is coming out of a Help I'm a Rock. And you can hear that on Ahead of Their Time. Possibly other tracks, but I think that's the best example of it on the Zappa release Ahead of Their Time, which feature those mothers. So anyways, it's a great song. It was an amazing live. Did not stick around, sadly, into past the mothers. It never made it past them as a live act, but it is an amazing song. It is probably, I think, the most interesting thing on Freak Out. As great as Freak Out is and as experimental as it is at times, that song best sort of captures like what Frank had to offer the world. But yeah, number 9, Help I'm a Rock. Help I'm a Rock! Somebody help I'm a rock! Number 8, Deborah Kadabra off Bongo Fury, featuring Captain Beefheart on vocals. I was wrong when I said the Status Back Baby is by far the shortest song on here. This is also not that long of a song, less than 5 minutes. This song, to me, Bongo Fury is an underrated album, generally, I think, critically, even by fans. Problem is, there's a lot of filler in there, but there's some absolutely amazing stuff. And I think Captain Beefheart's presence adds an element of chaos to the entire thing. And even though this is definitely a song, it goes through so many shifts in like tone, and like there's all these little mini jams and riffs in it, and Beefheart sounds like he's improvising a lot of these lyrics, though I don't think he is. I think this is the way it was written. Growing up in LA, there's a lot of references to Southern California, so it also felt like somewhat of like an in-joke song, though I'm not really sure what any of the in-jokes are. But it is just an aggressive, from the beginning, it opens up with just this hard, like, Zappa riff, bam, 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 and then Beefheart comes in, and there are these amazing horn parts, and these little pseudo jams in there, all of which Beefheart's screaming over. It's like 4.5 minutes of just like really intense, raw Zappa meets the Captain live craziness. Just a great start to this album. Sadly, the rest of the album doesn't have quite this energy and the momentum, but it is a good album. Yeah, Deborah Kadabra, just an amazing song. Frank only ever did it with Beefheart, so it obviously never appeared on any other tour. So this is the only one we ever have, is this performance. But it is definitely worth checking out. The Zappa Family Trust has done an amazing job of releasing box sets, live concerts, material throughout Zappa's career. If they can get licensing, apparently there are copyright issues or licensing issues or publishing issues or whatever with getting Beefheart released on any more stuff. But man, a complete show from the Bongo Fury tour would be something I think all of us would love very, 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 very much. So, but anyways, until then, we only have Bongo Fury. We have that album. Enjoy it. And Deborah Kadabra kicks it off. An amazing, amazing. It feels like chaos as music. If chaos became music and tried to like form itself long enough, 4.5 minutes, that's what it would be. Is Deborah Kadabra. Yeah, it's a great song. Drowning Witch off the album Ship Arriving Too Late to Save a Drowning Witch. This is the latest or most recent song that I have on this top 10 list. It came out in '82. It featured Steve Vai. It's one of those, so Frank throughout his career would write songs specifically because he had musicians that can play the songs. And so the particular styles and or skill set of the musicians would kind of inspire Frank to write. This song was obviously inspired by the presence of Steve Vai and Tommy Mars in the band, because there are incredibly, incredibly difficult parts. It is a long song. I think the official release version is about 12 minutes long. It starts off with a song proper. There's lyrics. It's about a ship arriving too late to save a drowning witch. This is a song that kind of went through some phases live. Frank did this thing in starting with the 80s where he did this sing talk thing where he did like the dangerous kitchen, there's eggs in the da where he kind of sings through it, and I'm not a big fan of it, but there's a little bit of that in the Drowning Witch. So you have like this 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes of actual song composition, and then it goes off into these incredibly complex written parts, and then a Frank solo, an amazing Frank solo. The official live version, or the official version, which is taken from a live performance on the album Ship Arriving Too Late to Save a Drowning Witch. That first solo is absolutely amazing. Then there's another written part, pre-composed part. Then there's another solo that's usually always amazing. And then it closes out with another written part. This studio version, the official version, plus even the version he released later on You Can't Do That on Stage Anymore, volume 3, right? I'm losing my volume. Yeah, volume 3. I'm getting confused. Apparently, Frank did not have a single live performance in which the band got it right. So he had to edit together different performances. And apparently the one that's officially released, the studio version, whatever, there's like 14 or 15 different edits or different live performances edited together. But it is just an amazing song. The compositional parts of it, the pre-written parts, are just like reminiscent to me of like the, going back to that 73, 74 band and those tight, long, intricate, like, Echidna's Arv, Don't You Ever Wash, Dog Meat kind of runs, kind of like an envelopes type thing. Maggio, those type of really complex, Sinister Footwear too, just those really complex things. Plus, these solos are always good. Several of these Drowning Witch solos from live shows were featured on the Guitar album. There might be a couple on Transfusion. I think there's at least one on Transfusion. But these are just amazing guitar solos. This song is phenomenal. It's catchy. The opening riff is good, and every little part is you're just mind blown by what they're able to play. The solos are always good, and it's Wackerman and Tunis on your rhythm section, and they're really kind of putting a case for them as being also worthy of. They've been, I think, being on Frank's latter end, they don't quite get the respect of all the other rhythm sections, but on a song like this, they're like, hey man, yeah, we're worthy of respect just like the rest of them are. So anyways, yeah. Number 7, Drowning Witch. 6, The Adventures of Gregory Peccary. This is the longest track on this list, just over 20 minutes. It is off Frank Zappa's 1978 Studio Tan album. It was supposed to be on Lather, but that's a whole other video. But anyways, this is an ambitious work, possibly Frank's most ambitious work. Not his longest, but probably his most ambitious. So this is sort of a musical movie. So there is sort of singing narration. Frank kind of talks you through some of this parts. There are parts that are sung. There's like background vocals, like singing Big Swifty. There's some cool stuff in here. But pretty much what it is Frank will tell you a little bit of the story, and then there'll be like a musical interlude. Then Frank will come back in and tell you more of the story, and then there'll be another musical interlude. The musical interludes are amazing. They differ sort of every time. Some are just a little bit funkier, some are jazzier, some are like his Stravinsky-esque type stuff. If you're familiar with Frank, there's some melodies in here that he has repeated. The New Brown Clouds from For Calvin and his Next Two Hitchhikers appears at the end of this. If you're familiar with the song Farther Oblivion, not Father, but Farther, part of Farther Oblivion became part of this, quote unquote, right before the Stenopool section. So there's themes here that you will recognize from Frank, from other parts of Frank's music. But even if you don't know, it will not hurt your enjoyment of this song. It's 20 minutes. There's a lot to it. It is an adventure, as the title says. And it's one of those that I think the more you listen to it, the better it gets, especially because you kind of have to get used to all the talking and all the sort of interruptions by Frank, because early on, it was just like Frank talks, and then you go off on like this 2-minute, 2.5-minute incredible musical journey, and then he comes back in, and you're like, oh, forgot about that. There's going to be talking. But after a while, the story gets good, and it's not that bad. And the payoff, I think, is huge. But yeah, an amazing song, well worth checking out. And the album Studio Tan is also a really, really good album. So if you like this, check out that entire album. Gregory Peckery, number 6. Number 5, Inca Rhodes from One Size Fits All, which was released in 1975. Yeah, this song's almost perfect. Like, you really can't. Like, I had like 40 songs that could have been in this top 10 and had to narrow it down to 10. This is one of those. It's almost perfect. Back in the late 90s, I did an online best Frank Zappa song poll, like this international thing on these boards, because we didn't have websites back then. We did a 64 song bracket. Inca Rhodes won. But anyways, it's an amazing song. It's about 8.5 minutes long. It features like these really beautifully complex written parts by Zappa. It includes always an incredible guitar solo. In this instance, it features a George Duke keyboard solo. George Duke does the vocals in the original version. So with this nice little, never wanted to be a singer, but Frank convinced him to do it, and he sounds beautiful. The song is about the Inca Rhodes down in South America, where they think, aliens landed their spaceships and all. This was controversial stuff back in the 70s. But this is just an amazing song. It's just has all these little sections. It features Ruth Underwood, heavy on percussion, doing some amazing parts. But it goes through all these kind of different little shifts. There's, you have this opening little segment with the vocals and the Ruth featured on percussion. Then you have a guitar solo, go into this another awesome riff, then these crazy things, and then some weird vocals are thrown in the middle about the spaceships. Then Duke gets a solo, and then you close out with some jokes about Ruth. It's a fun song. There are versions out there of early versions that are released where the early part was played very much like a lounge type of, jazzy type, cocktail lounge type vibe. That guitar riff that Frank plays out of his solo before they go into like the second half of the song, that originally came out of the guitar solo which followed the Holiday in Berlin's. And if you listen to most Holiday in Berlin's, once Frank starts soloing, you can hear those Inca Road notes. And on Road Tapes Venue 3, I think he actually plays this lick, and then it would eventually find its way into Inca Rhodes. But anyways, phenomenal song, a phenomenal song. Check it out. Inca Rhodes is number 5. Number 4, Andy from One Size Fits All, 1975, just like Inca Rhodes. This song, I don't know, man. I love this song. The first minute of this song alone has so much going on for it that it just, so it starts off with this sweeping, like you're uplifted, right? And it just feels like it's going to be like this anthemic song. But then immediately the drums come in, and the drums are like, dun dun. I mean, this weird, funky, not in 4 rhythm, that's really cool. But then while this really fractured percussive rhythm is keeping you grounded, these guitars and these keyboards keep sweeping you up, and then the vocals come in, and the vocals are your typical Frank sort of this weird frantic what the hell's going on. You're not really sure what's going to happen. And then after this whole thing's been going on for about a minute, then the song proper starts, and it's this hard, heavy blues jam. This, is there anything good inside of you? I mean, it's just phenomenal. And the entire song just alternates between all these different parts. There's one part where everything drops off except for that percussive rhythm, that dun and then the keyboards come in with this do 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 do. None of that sounds like what the song is like, but that's the way it makes me feel. So there's all of these elements that just keep popping up that make it feel tense. There's tension and release, and it's majestic, and then it's grounded. Then Frank has this crazy guitar solo, and then at the end, when it's just getting so much, Johnny Guitar Watson comes in with this Andy, and just starts singing his butt off, while then Frank starts soloing like crazy, and the song goes off into the end. But It is like, I think it's 5.5 minutes long. Let me make sure. It is 6 minutes of just like the entire thing. You're just like, what is going to happen next with this song? And it is all so beautiful and just, and it's everything like Frank has put into 6 minutes. Like it gets me rambling. That's the way it makes me feel. I want you to go listen to it so you can feel like, my God, that's a powerful song. Sadly, only like a couple tours did this thing live, like regularly. The 79 tour did it, which we do not have a complete live show from the 79 tour yet. So the Zappa Family Trust, if you're watching this, give us a complete show from that 79 tour. There's a lot of solos out there from that tour. There's a lot of good material out there, but we don't have a complete show. And the 88 band did this with the horns. You can hear that on The Best Band You Never Heard in Your Life. And the 80 band did this, the Fall 80 band. You can hear that on Buffalo, and that is a good listen. That it's not quite as majestic. You don't have quite that 74 oomph of sound, but it's a good version. The Kaliuda Barrow combo on the rhythm section bring a lot to that. So anyways, Andy, number 4. Number 3, Holiday in Berlin off Burnt Weenie Sandwich. I talked about this song quite a lot when I did my Burnt Weenie Sandwich breakdown, because to me this is like the centerpiece of the album. It is beautiful, it is stately, it is majestic, it is an instrumental. It just has it's just one of those instrumental compositions that is just beautiful. Frank like just hit the nail on the head and came up with like perfection. It has a guitar solo that it goes through at the end. So it fades out into it doesn't fade out, but rides off into, so it ends with the guitar solo, as all great songs should, if I may add. There were vocals to this eventually, either originally written and never used, but the Flo and Eddie did the vocals. You can hear this on any Flo and Eddie version that has Holiday in Berlin, or The Return of the Hunchback Duke, as it is called. So Venue 3 has this, Road Tapes Venue 3. And the vocals were about their experience with I think they were in Germany, in Berlin, and there was a student protest going on that they tried to get the mothers involved in, and things went wrong. And the story is told in the vocals. But it is just another one of those majestic, powerful Frank songs that's also beautiful at the same time. It's not one of his most head-scratching, complex compositions, but it is one of his most just like, man, you came up with the right melodies and the right rhythms, and you put it together in the right way. And it's just one of those that like makes me feel good when I hear it. It's great on the album. It's great live. I actually think the Flo and Eddie version with the vocals, with the guitar solo that has tones of Inca Rhodes usually in it. You can hear hints of Inca Rhodes either explicitly in the guitar solo, or in the early versions kind of hints of it. It's just an amazing song. It's one of those that nobody ever did after Flo and Eddie. Like it just dropped off, and it, like the Inca Rhodes part stayed, but the Holiday in Berlin part didn't. So yeah, just an amazing, beautiful song on an absolutely amazing album. So check out the album. I think it works. It's a better song in the context of Burnt Weenie Sandwich, where there's a prelude. There's an earlier song in which they kind of tease the same melodies with some out-of-tune horns and stuff like that. So by the time you actually get to Holiday in Berlin, full blown as it is called, it just like, man, it feels good. But yeah, my number 3 favorite song, Holiday in Berlin. Full blown. Florentine Pogan off One Size Fits All, 1975. Not even really sure how to describe this song. It is, one, it's perfect, obviously. That's why it's on this list. But it is the song that seems like it's going to be a pretty straightforward Frank Zappa song. Like it's got a pretty predictable, like steady groove. It's not too frantic, not too crazy. It goes through a lot of sort of different musical permutations before it gets to the vocals, but none of them are that like outlandish or crazy. But it is constantly subverting what you think is going to happen in really not subtle ways. I mean, they're always overt because it's Frank, but in ways that aren't that distracting. So it's like you're going along with this groove, and then a lyric that Frank writes thinks that, oh, this lyric must have this noise. So it's your typical example of Frank being like, we're going, we're going, we're going, but now we're over here for 10 seconds. Now we're back here. Now we're over here for 10 seconds. And then, now we're over here. And it's just like this constantly slightly changing groove with all these different, it's almost like Frank wrote like 15 different musical parts of equal length and then just joined them together like a train, and you're just riding this train going on these different parts. The lyrics are kind of crazy, silly nonsense, but they're not bad. They're not offensive. Not really sure what there's about. I mean, she was the daughter of a wealthy Florentine Pogan. Pogan! I mean, who knows what that's about? Read 'em and weep was her adjustable slogan. Well, I don't know what that means. But it's just so full of like these musical treats, like almost like Easter eggs, but they're not hidden. They're right there, but they're just so out of the blue and so crazy. There is no guitar solo on the one-size-fits-all version, but the live versions usually contained a guitar solo. And the best, possibly my all-time favorite Frank Zappa track is the Florentine Pogan on A Token of His Extreme. It is the song plus an amazing, amazing guitar solo that Frank never seems to want to end. It just keeps going and going and going. And then even when they get back into like the final part of the song where you know they're going to wrap up, he's still just soloing over the band as they're trying to wrap up the song. It is phenomenal. But this is one of those songs, like it's hard to describe because what exactly is it? I don't know what it is. It's not blues. It's not jazz. It's not classical. It's not, I don't know what it is. It's one of Frank's most original compositions by far. Like, I just don't think of anything else that sounds like Florentine Pogan. And yet it's not that difficult of a song to digest or enjoy. It's just magical. So my number 2, Florentine Pogan. Number 1 song off Hot Rats, the first track off Hot Rats, it's Peaches in Regalia. Regalia? I don't know. But anyways, yeah, that's it. It's my favorite song. It's his, I mean, I think it's his best song. It's not even 4 minutes long. It's an instrumental. It's pretty much one of those Frank songs where he comes up with like a theme, you know, like the main melody, the melodic theme, and then he just puts the band through all these different interpretations, and you go through different twists and turns, and you navigate this thing, and then you come back around it, and then you deviate from it, and then you finish strong with everybody coming in, and it's just, you know, there's not really a jam or a solo, but there's little bits where you can show off if you want, but just not too much because you don't want to deviate from the norm. But we'll give you a little chance to have a little bit of fun. It's a perfect song. Like it's a perfect instrumental song. It's beautiful. It's stately. It's grand. It's kind of rocking in a way. I mean, Fish has covered this song. My favorite local jazz band here in San Antonio covers this song. It's a beautiful rockin' instrumental. A lot of Frank's bands did this and they all did it well. I personally think the version on Tinseltown Rebellion that features the 79 band that features Tommy Mars and Warren Cucurullo, Vinnie Colaiuta, that their version has these really funky, almost like electronic part at the end that works, and Tommy Mars keyboard sound, that Tommy Mars keyboard sound works well with this song. The 88 band did it. We haven't seen one of those versions released, but that'd be an awesome thing to see released with all the horns. But yeah, my number 1 all-time favorite Frank song on one of his best albums, Hot Rats, is the song Peaches in Regalia? I don't know. So that is my list, and I want your thoughts. I want you to tell me where I'm wrong, where I'm right. If you check out these songs and change your mind and think, you know what, I actually like that song more than I did before, or I listened to it and I hate that song more than I did before, let me know. I got a lot of time on my hands, man. Like, I'm not wasting time getting haircuts or even shaving these days because I'm stuck inside my house. So that's it. Let me know. Thank you very much for watching. I'm going to be posting more Frank videos. I'm going to try to investigate every corner of the Frank world while I got the time, and I got the time, you guys. So anyways, yeah, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Stay safe out there, and Frank, music is the best.